Right now on a special edition of NBC Bay Area, the junior senator from Oakland addresses the nation for the first time as the vice president-elect of the United States.
But while I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
The Harris and Biden family celebrating their run to the White House tonight.
I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but unify. Who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States.
Tonight, the president-elect gives a message of unity and reconciliation to a politically divided nation. Thanks so much for joining us on a special edition of NBC Bay Area News. An all-new live SNL starts in just 30 minutes, but we begin with what's been a truly historic and emotional day across the country.
Just hours ago, Joe Biden spoke to the nation for the first time since learning he'll be the 46th president of the United States. Vice President-elect Senator Kamala Harris making history as the first woman to hold that office and making her mark with a passionate speech. Harris walked onto the stage at the Biden campaign headquarters wearing suffragette white, a nod to the women who fought so hard for the right to vote. She acknowledged the groundwork they laid so that she could be where she was standing tonight, saying she's standing on their shoulders.
But while I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last. Because every little girl watching tonight sees that this is a country of possibilities.
The vice president-elect also told Americans no matter who they voted for, she promises to be a vice president much like Biden when he served under President Obama, quote, loyal, honest, and prepared, waking up every day, think of the American people and their families.
And it is now my great honor to introduce the president-elect of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Like a good way to get out there. A very energetic-looking Joe Biden jogging out on stage. Both Biden and Harris have been through a long week of uncertainty with close races in battleground states. They both thanked poll workers, and President-elect Biden delivered a message of unity.
I sought this office to restore the soul of America, to rebuild the backbone of this nation, the middle class, and to make America respected around the world again. And to unite us here at home.
Biden also laid out his plan for battling the coronavirus. We're going to have much more on that coming up in about 20 minutes.
Biden's speech is striking many, including University of San Francisco politics professor James Taylor, as strong and compassionate. Experts are already pointing out the twin priorities of healing the nation's divisions and taking swift, firm action on the coronavirus crisis.
He hit on all of the important themes of unity because he's inheriting a great deal of division that was evident in the vote, evident in the campaign, evident in the past several years. He talked about the priority of COVID and appointing a committee on day one.
Taylor went on to say he was also impressed with how many international leaders have already reached out to congratulate Biden.
Well, people have been celebrating for nearly 12 hours at this point. Here's the scene in the Castro tonight. Sky Ranger flying overhead for that huge party. Let's check in with NBC Bay Area's Sergio Quintana. He's there in the Castro tonight. Sergio.
Yeah, you know, the Castro is sometimes a place that comes together, that people come to in time of tragedy. But check this out tonight. This is a large group of people that has been here for several hours. That's because the Castro is also best known as a place to celebrate. These people have been doing that here throughout the day. Now, after what had been an all-day street dance party, the crowd quickly turned its attention to Vice President-elect Kamala Harris and President-elect Joe Biden as they spoke to the nation. People gathered around a DJ bus as their speeches were broadcast over loudspeakers. This diverse crowd of LGBTQ people, straight, white, black, Latino, Asian, men, women, and transgendered, cheered at the message of inclusion from the next administration. Many here say the last 4 years have been difficult. This morning's projection that Biden and Harris won the White House has been cathartic.
I feel so relieved today. Today I am hopeful. Today is a change in America that we need.
I'm totally elated. I'm totally relieved. I thought Trump was going to win, and I feel like my faith in humanity is restored.
It has been an extremely long week, and following the results every hour of the day has been excruciating. So we are very excited.
Now, many in this crowd have actively protested against many of President Donald Trump's policies, ranging from his so-called Muslim ban that he instituted in the first year of his administration, and continuing into protests against pulling the United States out of the Paris Climate Accords, to his most recent appointment of Amy Coney Barrett to the U.S. Supreme Court. And while this has largely been a celebration, lots of speakers encouraged the crowd to begin working to understand why so many people supported the president, and they did cheer when President-elect Joe Biden said, now is the time for the country to start healing the divide. Reporting live in San Francisco, I'm Sergio Quintana, NBC Bay Area News.
Okay, Sergio, thanks so much for that report. While the world watches Vice President-elect Kamala Harris on its biggest stage, so many of us in the Bay Area have been watching every step of her career. She is a true local success story. Born in Oakland, Kamala Harris then grew up in Berkeley, and tonight people gathered at her childhood home. NBC Bay Area's Marianne Favreau has a look.
There have been a lot of celebrations here today, even a dance party. People have come from all over the Bay Area to see the house where the Vice President-elect grew up in Berkeley. Honking, photos, and sidewalk art. Today, hundreds of people visited the yellow two-story Berkeley home where Vice President-elect Kamala Harris grew up.
This is Kamala's house. It's amazing. And like, how often could someone be voted as vice president or president and you can just go 2 miles and go to their house that they grew up in?
Harris lived in Berkeley 12 years, and while the duplex where she once lived is now a Montessori school, many were still inspired that the new VP is a product of Berkeley. And they were proud to point that out to their children.
I think it's just really exciting to think that, you know, change starts here and it grows in our neighborhoods.
Tonight, the young girl who grew up here and is now the first woman elected vice president says she won't be the last. In Berkeley, Marianne Favreau, NBC Bay Area News.
And from that home that Marianne was talking about, Harris took the bus to Thousand Oaks Elementary School. Today, students there were elated. Parents and students posed for pictures in front of a mural that includes the future vice president. Students and staff have been closely watching every twist and turn of this election, and there have been many, and they say they can identify with Harris's story.
I am so excited. I can't, it's just such an amazing sigh of relief. And I was just telling my daughter, I'm so proud to have someone from Berkeley in the White House. I went to Berkeley High.
Students at the school have been having discussions with teachers about the election, and they've been reading her children's book titled Superheroes Are Everywhere.
Okay, doing things first is kind of the vice president-elect's thing. Harris has had a remarkable career. In addition to being the first female vice president, she's also the first black South Asian American to hold that position. You might remember Harris also became the first black senator to represent California, and before that, in 2003, she was elected district attorney of San Francisco, becoming the city's first female DA. Her dual ethnicity also made her the first black woman and the first South Asian woman statewide to hold the job.
Well, now Governor Newsom's going to have to appoint a replacement to serve the balance of Harris's term in the Senate. That expires in January 2023. Her replacement would likely run to fill that seat permanently in the 2022 general election. Celebrations for Biden and Harris continue in the North Bay. Take a look at this scene in Sonoma. You see people here waving flags. Some are dancing. Cars passing by, joining in on the festivities in that COVID way, honking their horns. But supporters of the president are also taking to the streets. This is the scene outside the Capitol in Sacramento. You see lots of Trump banners and you see American flags. And from California on over to Texas, supporters of President Trump gathering outside the Texas Capitol in Austin. Many protesters insisting the election fight is far from over.
President Trump was golfing in Virginia when the election was called for Biden. Returning to the White House, crowds of Biden supporters lined the streets. The president has not conceded the election. He continues to make claims of voter fraud without evidence. He released a statement this morning reading in part, beginning Monday, our campaign will start prosecuting our case in court to ensure election laws are fully upheld and the rightful winner is seated. The American people are entitled to an honest election. That means counting all legal ballots and not counting any illegal ballots. Again, there's been no evidence of any voter fraud.
Some of the lawsuits filed by the Trump campaign this week to stop the vote count have already been dismissed. Legal experts say it is not likely for his upcoming lawsuits to succeed either.
Right now, there's no reason to think that the Trump campaign will succeed. He would have to do something that has never been done in American history, which is to show that multiple states have counted tens of thousands of votes that were illegal. That has never happened before, and there's no evidence that it's happened here.
Well, as we mentioned, some states will enter an automatic recount because of how close the race was. That's automatic, but experts are saying that process is extremely unlikely to make a difference in who won the election. Now, tomorrow, on a special edition of Meet the Press, join Chuck Todd this Sunday for an interview with Biden Deputy Campaign Manager Kate Bedingfield and Senator Mitt Romney. Plus, an exclusive interview with South Carolina Congressman Jim Clyburn. That's tomorrow morning. Meet the Press right here on NBC Bay Area following Today in the Bay.